Well, happy Friday, fishes. This is Bernie DeSantis bringing you a mustache moment late in the day on Friday. It's been about a week since I did my last mustache moment. I've got a little feedback that I need to angle my camera a little bit better so you're not staring at my nose. So apologies if you saw boogers the last video. Today I want to talk about the iron triangle of business. And some of you may have heard of this, maybe in a different capacity, but I learned about it about 15 years ago-ish. For my cousin. My car broke down one day and I took it to him and he said, you know, Bernie, the problem isn't really that big of a deal and I can fix it for you, but I can do it fast, I can do it cheap, or I can do it right, and you can choose too. And so I told him, you know, obviously I need my car back tomorrow because I have to go to work, and I don't have a lot of money, so I do need you to do it on the cheap as much as you can, which in turn means that he probably wasn't going to do it by OEM manufacturer standards. We'll put it that way. It wasn't going to be done right. Needless to say, he did fix my car. It worked out. We didn't have any issues. But I tell that because recently I was engaged by an existing client and working on the video. Sorry again. I was engaged by a client and they came to me and said that they needed some help to revamp a training program, an onboarding program, call center training program. And they didn't have the entire project scoped out. They just knew that the training program was ineffective. It was not getting good feedback or reviews. And they had 300% attrition on this campaign of 700 call center agents and support staff. So what does that mean? Well, that means that in order to keep 700 butts in seats, they are training 2,100 people every single year. Absolutely mind-blowing. But it's really not an uncommon thing, unfortunately, especially in the call center world. Attrition rates are exceptionally high for a lot of reasons. And, you know, a few of the reasons that we were able to identify, even without doing significant research or discovery, was that the facilitators of this training program were skipping small sections, particularly engagement sections where they were doing things like icebreakers and activities. There's no follow-up post-training, right? These people would quote unquote graduate from this program, but there would be no follow-up, no coaching, no support afterwards. And so just from those two things alone, you can kind of see why they might have such a high attrition rate. Right now, I want you to think about that again for a second. 300%. So they're training 700 people and then they leave. And then they train another 700 people and those people leave. And then they train another 700 people just so they can keep 700 people. It's insane. So, you know, my team and I had several conversations with them. Oh, and another caveat, when they engaged with us, they told us that they wanted to create this training program for an April launch, which gave us about 90 days to create this new training program. So I tell you all that because it's very relevant to the iron triangle, right, that I explained earlier. I told them, look guys, you tell me that you want a best-in-class training program. You want your call center reps to be as prepared as they can be. You want them to stay. You want to eliminate or at least minimize that 300% attrition rate, right? So you know you want it done right. And you're telling me that it needs to be done in 90 days. So that means you need it done fast. So logically, following the iron triangle, it's not going to be cheap. So my team and I gave them a proposal after a few meetings. It wasn't cheap. In order to achieve their objectives, I would have had to use some really high-level folks in order to get it done. So I don't know what their cost to train those 700 people are. But I've got to imagine that doing it 3 times over, probably over time, and especially if it's going on for multiple years, would ultimately be more than the investment that they would have spent to have us rebuild this training program, give them the best-in-class training that they were looking for. And they have opted, at least for now, because they couldn't get the approvals or the budget, to continue doing what they've been doing, right? The old definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result. Mind-blowing, really. But what are you going to do? Iron triangle. You can have fast, you can have cheap, you can have it right. You can only choose two. Mustache moments. Enjoy the day.